Sauce the boss, yo, Sauce the boss, of course.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Sauce Boss in the building. About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting.
Shout out to Sauce the boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the boss.
Rescue the person, bear in mind that you're a firefighter, and you double and triple check to make sure there was no one in the abandoned property before starting the fire. What would you do in a situation like that? For TikTok user dog.k926 and her team, this was an unprecedented situation that left them shocked. After getting close to the property to confirm that it was indeed someone inside, they didn't find anyone, which left them wondering what they had seen.
Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Like this marketing team, asked at the last minute.
Naturally, when the clip made its way online, people had theories and suspicions. Some felt that they had encountered what was a ghost of someone who lived on the property. Others felt that there had to be a more grounded explanation and believed that this was most likely a curtain. I've watched the clip over and over, and I believe it's more likely that this was some sort of humanoid being than a curtain. I could be wrong, though. Anyway, kindly share your thoughts. What do you see and what explanations can you come up with? Speaking of strange humanoid creatures, take a look at this one too. Unlike the first, this was captured by a trail cam somewhere on a large private property. To put things in context, there's an individual driving a four-wheeler through the woods. He was supposed to be out there alone with his catch, but when you look at the image captured by the trail cam, it looks as though there was a much taller being out there with him. He had not seen this being or felt any weird presence. He only saw it whilst going through the pictures captured by the trail cam to see which animals had recently roamed his land. He shared the image online, and men were quick to point out the possibility of it being a paranormal being. While that's interesting take, not many agreed. Some felt it's nothing more than a lens effect of a four-wheeler shining into the trail camera's lens. Logically speaking, that makes a lot of sense, but when it comes to these things, logic doesn't always apply. Either way, you've seen the clip, so what's your take? Next, we got this clip that showed up in the community some days ago. It was uploaded by a family member that had just relocated to their new home. What was supposed to be a joyous and exciting time for members of the family appears to have been taken over by strange and paranormal experiences. While they hadn't managed to capture any on camera, the one on your screen was recently captured in their work area. Did you see it? There's a large shadow in there moving from left to right. There's no moving light source or object to cast this shadow. Instead, the shadow appears to be conscious and has a mind of its own. This made the family conclude there's more to it. After many paranormal experiences, the parents had experienced coming to this conclusion shouldn't have been difficult. Anyway, you've seen the clip, so what do you think? Does this look normal to you? The bird appears to be flying and flapping its wings, yet somehow it's hovering in the same position. How? It's not high enough for me to say it's hovering at insane speeds, making it look stagnant, yet somehow it's just there, flapping its wings and being in the same spot. I wanted to say this was a glitch in the Matrix, but Jeremy, one of our new interns for the studio, is saying that it's a bird of prey, and it's something that usually does this to scope out their next victim or food. He also mentioned this could be a perspective thing, but I'm not overly convinced. What do you say? Shadows usually follow one simple rule. They're cast by something real, something solid. There needs to be an actual object for light to bounce off of to create a shadow. But in the paranormal community, we've seen countless cases where this rule doesn't seem to apply. Take this next incident, for example. A man was out for a walk, strolling along the pavement when he noticed something strange. There was a shadow. At first, it looked like the shadow of a regular person until he realized there was no one there. The shadow was clearly humanoid, shorter than an average adult, but distinct in shape. The man pans his camera around to show his surroundings, and yet there's nothing there. No one was standing nearby, no figure, no statue, no object that could be responsible for casting a defined shadow. He doesn't tilt the camera up, though, and that small detail has people debating. Some speculate it might have been a balloon floating above him, casting the shadow downward. That would explain the shape, maybe, but others aren't convinced. Because here's the thing. There's a quality to this shadow that just doesn't seem right. It's too solid. So if it wasn't a balloon, then what was it? A family had recently put their beloved dog to rest. It was a heartbreaking loss, and they truly loved their dog and missed it deeply. But then, something strange and touching happened. One day, the mother and the daughters noticed something unusual on the glass door leading outside. At first, they thought their eyes were playing tricks on them, but no, there it was. The silhouette of their dog was sitting just outside the door in the exact way it used to when it wanted to be let in. The familiar shape and posture were unmistakable. They were overwhelmed with emotion. It was as if their dog had come back to visit them, even for just a moment. The shadowy figure stayed there quietly before slowly fading away. It didn't feel scary. It felt comforting, like a final goodbye, or maybe a sign that their loyal companion was still watching over them.
Great ideas can come from anywhere. With Wix, you decide where they go. Put your ideas into play with AI and watch them shape every aspect of your website. Explore as many layouts and designs as you want. Then zoom in and dictate the mood and vibe. And when it all comes together, launch your idea into the world where it belongs. It's your business, your website. You do it yourself on Wix.
We have a chilling piece of footage that was shared by a woman who woke up in the middle of the night for a quick midnight snack and ended up getting more than she bargained for. As she was seated in the kitchen munching away some cereal, a childlike voice suddenly called out, "Mom." Startled, she looked around, but there was no one there. Here's the truly creepy part. She doesn't have any children. She lives with a roommate who is also an adult and who is fast asleep in their room at the time. So who or what had called out to her? To this day, she has no explanation. Even weirder, some people have pointed out an eerie pattern online. They claim instead of the ghost saying "Mom," it said "Hey." No one knows exactly why. Some think it's the way spirits try to mimic or reach out to people, especially women.
Bizarre, I know, but did she really experience something paranormal? Or was it just a hoax?
Oh, Jesus. Jackie. Hi.
Up next, we have a chilling video that was shared by a man who was home alone with his toddler son. He was casually live streaming when something very unexpected happened. In the corner of the room, Near the curtains, a strange figure suddenly appeared. It was a pale woman, almost ghostly white, dressed in what looked like Victorian-era clothing. She wasn't moving. She just stood there, completely still, staring at the man and his son. And yes, it's just as creepy as it sounds. People in the comments were quick to point out that the house looks old, and many believe that this might be the spirit of a former resident. The way she appears and just watches in silence, there's something deeply unsettling about it. Next, take a good look at this clip and tell me if you see anything wrong. If you said that branch is floating, then you're absolutely correct. It's a branch all by itself in the air, and somehow it's perfectly fine. Naturally, everyone's reaction is glitch, but take a good look and tell me how it's there. We featured the best response in our next video. Bears are massive creatures, and usually they'll eat just about anything to satisfy their enormous appetite. But a group of men recently had a very unusual encounter with one. They offered the bear a burger, and not just any burger, a McDonald's burger, and to their surprise, the bear refused to eat it. It sniffed the burger and even gave it a little nudge with its nose, but then turned away. At one point, one of the men even tried placing the burger close to its mouth, but the bear just spat it out. Now, that's odd. Why would a bear turn down fast food? Some people believe that maybe the bear knew better. With its powerful sense of smell, it probably picked up on all the preservatives and artificial stuff packed into a burger and decided no thanks. Others think the bear was simply full. Maybe it had already eaten and didn't feel like indulging any further. Still, it's not every day that a wild animal turns down a burger. If even a bear won't eat it, how should we?
На, мясо давай, Том, мясо. Вот, Том, неправильно. Давай, Том. Не хочет. Не хочет. Нет.
Have you ever had the feeling that someone was in bed with you? Oh, no, me neither. But the person you're watching in the clip right now had that exact sensation. And the funny thing is, she really did see something moving in her bed. Weird, right? The explanation many gave for this was she got a spirit in her bed. Personally, I think so too, but you guys can share your theories on this one. Personally, I may have never returned to that room after this, but hey, each to their own. This next moment was caught live, literally. This man was streaming from home when he suddenly heard something that made him freeze. It was his girlfriend's voice calling him from the other room. Even the dog heard, so its ears perked up instantly, reacting to the familiar voice. But here's where things get weird. His girlfriend wasn't home. She'd gone out hours ago. So who or what was calling him? Freaking out, he grabbed his phone and called her. When she picked up, she was calm but serious. She told him not to respond to whatever it was. That advice was chilling because it lines up perfectly with something we've heard about in paranormal world: mimics. These entities copy the voices of people we know. Friends, family, anyone close. They use their voices to get us to open doors, come closer, or speak back. According to the lore, they need an invitation. Just like a vampire, they can't fully come in unless you let them. And in this case, calling out or walking toward the voice might have just been the invitation it did. So if you ever hear a loved one calling from another room when they're not supposed to be there, it's best to not answer.
Like, y'all about to see how fake she is if you guys hear leave. Did y'all hear it? I don't know if they heard it, but
Hey, that's scary.
that is scary.
I heard about that on TikTok. Like, I think they're called mimics or something. Like,
Oh hell no, that's what they were talking about.
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day 1, he would install Pi on his computer without spending a dime because it's 100% free. Day 2, he realizes how clean and clutter-free his browsing experience has been since he got Pi. He doesn't have to deal with annoying cookie pop-ups or targeted ads. Day 3, he can finally binge YouTube and Twitch without interruption because Pi works on every website you visit on Chrome. Day 4, he discovers that when he does
So a video popped up of this person just riding a bike. Nothing strange at first, right? But look again. As he's biking down the road, you'll notice something unusual. He's being followed by birds and animals. They're all gathered around him, walking, flying, and trailing behind him as he rides away. People are calling him a real-life animal magnet, and honestly, it looks like it. The animals don't look scared or aggressive. They're just drawn to him like he has some invisible pull. The big question is, why? Does he feed them regularly? Is there a scent? Or is this something more strange? Whatever the case, it's giving me serious Dr. Dolittle vibes, and it's a superpower I'd love to have. Someone shared this video from New Zealand, and it's got the internet talking. They captured this strange creature coming out of the water. It kind of looked like a dolphin, but it was darker, smaller, and way more unusual. Turns out what they saw is known as the New Zealand long-fin eel. These creatures are native to New Zealand and are actually critically endangered. They can grow 6 feet, live for decades, and spend most of their life in fresh water before heading out to the ocean to breed once and then die. People rarely see them out like this, especially coming up from the water like that. So when one shows up unexpectedly, it almost feels like spotting something out of a legend. Nature is full of surprises. A man and his dog were taking a quiet stroll through the woods when something strange caught their eye. Curious, he pulled out his phone and started recording, hoping to capture whatever was looking around. As he panned his camera slowly through the trees, it happened. Out of nowhere, a dark humanoid shadow emerged from behind one of the trees. It was pitch black, almost like a moving silhouette with no real form. The moment the man spotted it, he freaked out and took off running, his dog right behind him. Watch the footage again. There it is. A shadow that seemed to have no source, just standing there, then vanishing as quickly as it came. Now, while some skeptics are calling this edited footage, others believe the man may have a real encounter with a shadow person, one of those mysterious entities that people report seeing during sleep paralysis, in haunted places, or in the deep woods like this. What do you think he saw? People have been debating whether what we're seeing here is real, and if it is, what exactly we are seeing. In the first clip, we see what looks like a glowing object descending from the sky. There's no visible form, just these beautiful flowing lights. The lights shimmer and pulse, almost dancing, before the object vanishes behind a building. Then there's a second clip. This one shows a strange object hovering, and from it, a bright blue laser-like beam shoots up into the sky as the object moves slowly. So what are we watching here? Some believe these are UFOs, maybe even extraterrestrial probes. Others say it could be a drone show, part of some futuristic display. Of course, skeptics are calling it just CGI, saying it's too perfect and too surreal to be real.
But if it's fake, it's very well done.
A man had gone out for a relaxing day of kayaking when he spotted something unusual swimming close to his boat. At first, it looked like a massive fish with a fin slicing through the surface of the water. He even assumed it had to be a whale. It was just that big. But as more of the creature came into view, it became clear this was not a whale at all. Turns out what he'd encountered was actually a basking shark. And while the word shark might immediately set off alarm bells, there's no need to panic. This shark is not dangerous. The basking shark is the second largest living shark species in the world, only behind the whale shark. But they are completely harmless to humans. These gentle giants feed on plankton, not people, and they're known for just cruising near the surface with their mouths open wide, filtering out food. Despite their enormous size and prehistoric look, they're calm, slow-moving, and more curious than threatening. Still, imagine being out in a kayak alone on the water and seeing the giant fin pop up next to you. Even if you knew it was harmless, it'd still be scary. By now, most of us have heard about the direwolves that were brought back from extinction. Everyone is talking about it. And it's no secret that scientists are also working on re-engineering the existence of mammoths and other long-gone species. But now, in China, researchers have made yet another mind-blowing discovery. They've uncovered what they believe to be a fossilized embryo. Not just an embryo, this one belonged to a dinosaur. Yeah, an actual dinosaur. The fossil, discovered back in the year 2000, has been sitting in storage, preserved until just recently, when scientists finally took a deeper look. What they found left them stunned. It's a nearly intact dinosaur embryo, estimated to be around 72 million years old. And here is where it gets even more bizarre. The embryo seems to belong to a feathered dinosaur species, likely related to early birds. The creature was curled up inside its egg in a position almost identical to how modern-day bird embryos rest just before hatching. It's eerie familiar. Now, with today's level of genetic engineering and cloning advancements, you can probably guess what some researchers are thinking. Yep, bringing it back. We're getting dangerously close to making real-life Jurassic Park a thing. The big question is, just because we can bring back extinct apex predators, should we? This footage was taken from the black box camera of a car. The owner had been driving home late one night when something caught his eye, something up ahead on the road. At first, he brushed it off. It was dark, his eyes were tired, but later curiosity got the better of him. He retrieved the footage from his car's dash cam, and what he saw left him completely shaken. Right there on the video was a dark figure crawling across the road on all fours. The footage is grainy, of course, and the night is pitch black. But the shape is unmistakable. It moves low to the ground, not walking, not running, but crawling. Now, theories have been flying ever since the video was shared online. Some people say it was just a shadow or reflection caught by the camera in the darkness, maybe a trick of the headlights, but others aren't so sure. A good number of viewers believe it could be an apparition, something paranormal. Then some have taken a darker route, suggesting that this may have been a cryptid, perhaps a skinwalker, a crawler, or an unknown creature. Whatever it is, it wasn't just the camera that saw it. The driver did too, and that's what gets you thinking. Bread is one of the most common food items you'll find in every household. And you'd think that with how simple the ingredients are, bread would be one of the most authentic foods out there. But apparently, that's not the case anymore. Just like how fake and heavily processed foods are flooding our shelves, bread has not been spared. A video recently shared by a woman shows just how strange things have gotten. She bought a loaf of bread, just regular store-bought bread. But watch what happens as she squeezes the slice tightly in her hand, expecting it to crumble or tear like fresh bread should. But it didn't. Instead, the bread slowly unraveled back into its original shape, almost like it was made of foam or some kind of stretchable plastic. It looks less like food and more like a plastic bag that got wrinkled and then smoothed back out. This has led many to believe that the bread we're eating might contain microplastics, tiny invisible plastic particles that have somehow made their way into food. Not only are they not meant to be consumed, but they can also be extremely harmful to our health. And if you're ever feeling suspicious, here's something to try. Notice how most store-bought bread barely goes bad. It just sits there for days, sometimes weeks without molding. Why? Because all of the preservatives, additives, and chemicals packed into it. At this point, can we even call it bread anymore?
Bread. It should stay. Why the is it coming back to life? Just give it a second. It's pumping back up. It's pumping back up.
A couple had just moved into a new house. They didn't have any kids, and for the most part, things were quiet until one evening something unexplainable happened. The wife was walking through the hallway, just going about her usual routine, when she suddenly stopped in her tracks. Standing there in the dimly lit corridor was what looked like a little girl, just staring at her. She was stunned. They didn't have children, there was no one else living in the house, and yet right in front of her was a small girl in a white dress with long black hair that hung below her shoulders. Shaken, she quickly took a photograph of what she saw and later showed it to her husband when he got home. He didn't know what to say, but the figure was right there. Even after running the image through several filters and enhancements, the girl remained in the photo even clearer now. This wasn't just a smudge or shadow, it was distinct. It looked real. Some people online suggested the house might be an old building, and it could easily carry the imprint of someone from its past. Maybe what she saw was the spirit of a child who once lived there and never left. So what do you think? What exactly are we looking at here? At first glance, it appears to be a white furred creature with the body of a rat and the face of a monkey. Its fur is snow white, and its face has this oddly human-like quality, especially around the eyes and nose. It's strange, almost unsettling. People online are divided. Some are convinced this is just CGI, but others aren't so sure. The movements all look a little too real. And with how far science has come, especially in genetic engineering, is it really that impossible? Let's not forget that scientists today are editing genes, reviving extinct species, and even mixing DNA to create hybrids in controlled labs. So who's to say something like a rat-monkey hybrid isn't real? Whether it's a hoax, a leaked lab creation, or something we're not meant to know about, this creature raises a lot of questions. So what do you think? My vanilla ice cream lovers, where are you? You might want to sit down for this one and maybe set that cone aside just for a second. Here's the deal. Scientists have been working on a way to make more vanilla flavor for all our ice cream cravings. Sounds great, right? Well, hold that excitement because it's about to get weird. They've apparently figured out how to turn plastic waste, yes, actual garbage, into vanilla flavoring. You heard that right. From plastic bottles to vanilla ice cream. Wondering how? They use E. coli bacteria. They're genetically modifying it to break down plastic and convert it into a compound called vanillin, which is the stuff that gives vanilla its signature taste and smell. And technically, it's safe, technically. But how comfortable are you knowing that your ice cream might have started life as a soda bottle? Look, innovation is cool and all, but when we start turning plastic waste into food additives, it makes you wonder then if there is a problem. There's going to be microplastic in there, which is very harmful to us. Now, before tasting ice cream, our minds would race with the thought of whether we're really tasting vanilla or recycled trash. So let me know what you think, because honestly, I don't know whether to be impressed or terrified. This next footage was shared by a couple, and it's one of those subtle but seriously creepy moments that just makes your skin crawl the more you watch it. They're on a regular video call. The wife was at home, just casually chatting with her husband. Everything seems totally normal. She was smiling and laughing until suddenly her whole expression changed. Out of nowhere, she quickly turns around. And it wasn't just a small glance. She whipped her head around like something startled her. Her husband, watching through the video call, saw it happen in real life and asked what was wrong. She said it felt like something had grabbed her hair from behind, but here's the thing, there was no one else there. You can even see when her hair lifted slightly in the footage. The woman did share that she'd recently lost a relative, which could explain what happened, but if it wasn't her late relative, then something else was in there with her that day. But what was it?
Cover my back, alright? What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
Two men had gone to explore an old abandoned building. Now, this wasn't just any building. It was rumored to have been built over an ancient Native American burial ground. To make things even creepier, some say the former owner dabbled in the occult. The men had their camera gear and flashlights ready as they made their way through the dark. But then, the atmosphere shifted. They started hearing noises. It wasn't wind, it wasn't creaking wood, it was something moving. As they turned the camera toward one of the doors, everything changed. You could actually hear both of them gasp, and then they bolt out of there at full speed, completely spooked. So what did they see? Well, let's slow it down and take a closer look. At the doorway, crouched low, was something tall and unnaturally thin. The figure looked like it was trying to duck under the frame. It had what seemed to be a draped white cloth over its head and body, almost like a veil, but there was something about its proportions that didn't quite look human. You'd miss it if you blinked. The camera moves fast because, honestly, the cameraman was clearly terrified. But now here's where it gets interesting. Some people say this was a spirit or entity, maybe something summoned by dark rituals. Others believe it's tied to the history of the land itself, like a restless spirit guarding the burial ground. But not everyone is convinced. One commenter claimed it was just a person under a white sheet, implying the whole thing was staged. But let's be real, if it was a hoax, it was done eerily well. The men's reaction seemed raw, like they genuinely saw something.
Cover my back, alright? What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
We've got to be extra careful, whether we're out or even just chilling at home. Always lock your doors, especially if your front yard is open to the street. And this is why. A family shared this unsettling footage from their doorbell camera. In the video, a strange-looking person walks right up to their front door and puts their face close to the camera. But what freaked people out was their eyes. The pupils were glowing green and the irises looked sharp, almost like a starburst or even like a cat's eye. It didn't look human at all. And yeah, maybe it was a contact lens, but something about it just didn't feel right. The person didn't knock. They didn't say anything. They just stood there, glancing around like they were scoping the place out. And then they just left. Luckily, the door was locked, but honestly, if it hadn't been, who knows what would have happened. After this footage was posted, people in the comments went wild. Some said it looked like a person on something, but others said it wasn't human at all, that it might be a reptilian. Whatever it was not just passing by. These days, when people hear satanic worship, the first thing that usually comes to mind is something with strange symbols on their face, wearing upside-down crosses and cursing out Christianity. But back in the day, satanic worship was way darker than just edgy fashion statements. A group of explorers were out in a remote wooded area in California when they came across an opening in the ground. Curious, they decided to go in, and it led them straight into what looked like an underground facility. This place, according to locals, was once used as a satanic temple, and what they found inside made that pretty clear. All over the space were signs of disturbing rituals. Human remains, yup, actual bones were scattered across the area. Some were even embedded into the concrete walls. The place was dusty, and strange symbols and writings were on the walls. But one of the eeriest things they noticed was the shoes. Lots of them, old, worn-out shoes lying around in corners and along the walls. The rumor is that back in the day, victims of these rituals were kidnapped, used in sacrifices, and never seen again. So those shoes might have belonged to them. It's terrifying to think about, but it shows how deep and dark things may have once been. Nowadays, if satanic worship like that still exists, it's hidden.
Remember, the next time someone laughs it off or says it's just a goth trend, tell them that there are places out there that tell a much more sinister story.
We've got some very tricky footage that's been circulating online, and it has everyone completely torn about what it actually shows. The video captures this strange object just floating in the sky. It appears to be twisting and rising almost like it's alive. At the top of it, you can see lights that look almost like flickering flames, while the lower part trails off in this rope-like shape, almost like a tendril or a tail. Now, some people are saying it's just a balloon that caught fire, or maybe even a drone going down in flames. But the paranormal community thinks it might be something else entirely. Some believe this could be a jellyfish UFO, which is a type of unidentified flying object that just looks organic, almost like a deep-sea creature floating through the sky. And honestly, here's the strange part. If it was a balloon or a drone on fire, it should have fallen. But this thing stayed up, floating steadily, even pausing mid-air at one point, as if it was controlling its movement. It didn't behave like something crashing. So what do you think? Someone visited a graveyard and ended up capturing something unusual. As they slowly panned their camera across the quiet, somber cemetery, they caught something that didn't quite belong, something that sent a chill down their spine. There, right at one of the graves, was a figure. It appeared to be someone or something sitting directly on the grave. The figure was hunched over with its back turned to the camera. It looked like it was draped in tattered dark cloth, almost like old burial fabric. Its head was bowed low. The figure never reacts, never turns around, and before anything else can happen, the video ends. So what exactly did this person capture? Was it just someone grieving quietly at a loved one's grave wearing layers of clothing? Or was this something else entirely, like a spirit maybe? Someone shared this wild video they took one night, just as a storm seemed to be rolling in. You could see the clouds overhead are thick and swirling. The wind is picking up and lightning is flashing through the sky. But then something strange happens. As the lightning lights up the night sky, a massive dark shape appears above the clouds. Take a close look. It's not just any shape. It looks like an upside-down pyramid hovering in the sky. It's not just some blur or smudge either. The outline is sharp, it's solid, and it's just there, floating and unmoving. The paranormal community went wild over this. Many believe what we're looking at is a cloaked UFO, something hiding in the sky and only revealed for a brief second when the lightning hits. But not everyone's convinced. Some skeptics claim this could be edited footage. So what's the truth? This footage was taken in the Kremlin in Moscow, and what witnesses saw that night left everyone stunned. Hovering silently in the sky was a massive black pyramid-shaped object, and no, this wasn't the first time something like this has been spotted. A documentary even covered this phenomenon, showing the object from multiple angles. And here's where it gets even weirder. Similar pyramid UFOs have been reported over China, the Pentagon, and even above a US warship. That's not just a coincidence. To many, this is proof that what we are seeing isn't human technology. People are starting to believe that these could be aliens, possibly the same beings who were behind the construction of the pyramids around the world. What do you think? Is this just secret military tech, or are we seeing something extraterrestrial? Some guys had gone out to film something, maybe just a casual video or some skit. One of them was behind the camera while the other crouched down in front, maybe getting into position for a shot. Everything seemed normal at first, but then suddenly, the guy on the ground jumps up and bolts, sprinting full speed away from the trees behind him. It looks random at first until a few seconds later we see why. Out from the trees, coming straight toward him. It's huge, tall, and dark. The figure looks like a classic Bigfoot, towering, bulky, and covered in hair, but the moment so brief that you can only catch a quick glimpse of the camera because the guy filmed starts running for his life. There's no audio in the footage, but you can almost feel the panic. Now here's the thing. We've seen countless Bigfoot sightings and blurry videos over the years, and this one fits that pattern, short, sudden, and just eerie enough. Some viewers believe it's one of the most genuine sightings out there, arguing that the fear and reactions look way too real to be fake. But skeptics are not convinced. They say it could easily be staged, with someone in a costume running out on cue. But as always, the clip ends before we get a clear view. So what do you guys think? Is this just another fake Bigfoot video, or did these guys catch Bigfoot on camera?
My fault, the beach is glassing. The beach is
Yes. All around me, my fences protecting his angels.
Come to the moolah, G's on his head like the school days between two legs. The pussy is the basket, I finish a dunk, pull out and shoot my cool J. You see how I do when I do me.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's Boss in the building. About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's Boss in the building.
Sauce the boss, yo, sauce the boss, of course. Simple sauce. Sauce the boss, yo. Shout out to Sauce the boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the Boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man? Shout out to Sauce the Boss, of course, man. Who's in the building, man?